Hello there. Welcome to the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. I'm so glad you're here with me today. My name is Denise Alvarez, and I get the pleasure of hosting you here each week on the podcast. And just in case we are new friends, I will quickly give you an update about my business and who I am, and then we will get into our episode, which I'm super excited about today's topic because we're talking about how you can market your stallion. So it's super niche specific. I know that, but that's one of the reasons I'm excited because I know that there are many of you who are sitting in this boat that just want some specific ideas. So we are going to give you lots of ideas, or I'm going to give you lots of ideas today. So before we get to that, like I said, my name is Denise Alvarez, and through my business, Storm Lily Marketing, I get to help horse business owners like you turn your website visitors into your customers. I do that through coaching, as well as website design and content, email marketing strategy, and my monthly coaching program called Social Stripe. I do each of those things. I do this podcast here because I love horse business owners and I want to help you all do more of what you enjoy doing. I want to help you be out in the barn more. I want you to help you be away from your computer if that's what you want, because I know for many of you, that's the case. At least that's what I hear from you. I get that marketing is not everybody's love language, and so I'm here to help you out with that process. I want to give you step-by-step strategies and basic how-tos so that you can not only see what's possible when you market your horse business, but so I can guide you through that process to make it happen. So today on the podcast, I'm going to guide you through the process with some ideas on how you can market your stallion. Spring is in the air around here. I am recording this in March and it's publishing in March. So I know for many of you, that means it is peak breeding season or peak foaling season. And I know that many of you that are listening have one or two stallions as a part of your business. And I know that some of you maybe have a complete operation that is totally based on breeding. Either way, I thought it would be fun to do an episode that focuses on just that, to provide some specific and practical ideas for you. So I was inspired to do this, to be honest, because a few weeks ago, I did a Facebook Live on email marketing in horse businesses, right? So I shared some specific types of businesses and looked at how they can use email marketing in their business, right? From training to lessons to services. And one of the types I shared about was a breeding operation. And for each one, I used a specific real life example to help you see what that looks like. But I could not find an example I wanted to use for breeding because I frankly couldn't find a horse business that was doing the email marketing part of things well when it comes to that. Now, I've signed up for a number of their emails for different well-known breeding operations, but I'm not getting their emails for some reason. I'm not seeing how they're using it. And so I didn't have a real life example. So I just listed a handful of ideas. And I said, if you're listening and this is you, then here's some ideas for you to take and run with. And so I wanted to take that and talk about it here. But rather than just focus on email marketing, we are going to talk about a variety of different ways that you can use to market your stallion. Now, I know for many of you, print ads are the first thing that comes to mind, and maybe you're using those. I know they're very common, of course, when you look at specific breed or association publications. And I love that. It's well known, so I'm not including that here on my list. So just so you know, when you're like, well, Denise, you didn't say anything about print ads, that's why, because my goal here is to give you some creative ideas that will inspire you to think a little bit differently about how you can market your stallion, maybe some other ways, right, that you can add into the mix. Now, in this list that I'm about to share, I'm not telling you like, go do social media, go do email marketing, go do this, right? Instead, what I want to do is give you some specific content ideas for each of these different platforms. So rather than telling you the platform to go to, I know that you're probably on many of them already, right? So I'd love to share with you some specific content ideas that are going to drive what you put on that platform, whether it's social media, email marketing, or the others that we'll talk about, okay? All right, I hope you're super excited. Now, as always, I will have a list of these things on the show notes at stormlily.com/69. So if you are rapidly taking notes and you would like a place to at least see an outline, I will have that there for you. And then you can always reach out if you have any further questions, of course. All right. Okay, so let's jump into this. Now, I will warn you, there are probably more than 10 ways that I'm going to talk about here. But I thought 10 was a nice round number to pull you in. And then if you walk away with more than 10 ideas, that's a bonus, all right? Because as some of you know, for those of you that are in my Social Stride coaching program, you know that content is one of the things I love to brainstorm. So consider this your content brainstorm session when it comes to marketing your stallion, all right? All right, so let's jump into social media. What are some ways that you can use social media to market your stallion? Now, when I say this, I don't mean taking a picture, this is not wrong, right? But I want to give you ideas to go past this. So I'm not just saying to take a picture of your stallion and post now booking, maybe post a couple of winning stats about the stallion and then put the contact information. You can totally do that, but I'm going to challenge you to do a little bit more, okay? So what if instead you created a few different series? So what if you did a frequently asked questions series, right? Not specific to your stallion, but specific to what does it look like to go through the breeding process with you? What are some of the common questions that you get when people are inquiring, right? What are the things that you wish that mare owners knew before they contacted you? What are the things that they can do ahead of time to make it a successful process? Turn that into a series of posts or videos or a combination, right? You could do this inside of your stories. You could do this as a reel, the top 5 questions I get asked about breeding, and then take that content and break it down. Answer their questions, and always at the end, invite them to leave a comment if they're interested or send you a DM for more information. Do not forget to leave a call to action to invite people to engage and to invite them to actually take action and find out what that next step is to work with you, right? Now, I definitely want you to consider using your reels on social media, specifically, of course, on Instagram, to look for new avenues, right, for how you can get information out about your stallion. So get some really great video footage, or you could use a slideshow of pictures. If your stallion happens to have a history and different awards that you have won or ribbons that you have won together, then do a slideshow of those, right? Create a snapshot of your history of the time that he's been there with you, or what his history is and how he's gotten to this point, the value that he has. Maybe you would do a slideshow of his different offspring and what they have accomplished or what they're accomplishing now in the show pen. I want you to also pay attention to the quality of your video and pay attention to how you're going to hook people in to watch it. So as you're creating these things, I want you to keep that best fit audience in mind. When you're writing the content, when you're writing the text that goes along with that reel, think about what's going to invite people to continue reading, what's going to pull them in and engage them, right? Use music in the background, use trending music if it's a good fit, use hashtags to get them in front of more people. And these are all things that you can do inside of the different social media platforms to build some momentum and get some excitement going about your stallion. So remember, while that period when you are booking, like if you just have a period or a season that you are booking people, that's super important. But consider how you can warm people up to that idea before you ever reach that season, before you ever have that post that says, okay, now booking, limited spots available. What have you been doing up until that point to share on social media and build up the excitement? Okay. So those are some specific ideas for you to take and use on your social media. Now let's talk about email marketing. Now, I will tell you ahead of time, the ideas that I'm sharing here, you can, of course, cross-post, right? Or you can take some of these ideas that I have for you for creating an email series and turn that into a series on your social media. You know, it does not have to be in just one place. And do not feel like just because you posted it in one place, you can't put it in another because they're all going to see it. They're organically, your followers are not seeing everything that you put out there. So do not worry about that, okay? Now, when it comes to email marketing, The first thing I want you to do is make sure that you have the right people on your email list. Now, you've heard me talk many times about creating a valuable freebie, and I'm so excited because I have a fun example to show you. And her name is Jessica McNamara. Jessica, I hope I'm getting your last name right. And they are with Aesthetic Equine. And her business she has a breeding business, and she just created a new freebie. And it's brand new. And I saw her post about it on Instagram, and I said, I'm going to use you as an example on the podcast because she's getting out there and taking action. And I love that. So she's created a freebie called 5 Questions to Ask a Stallion Owner. So guess what? The people that download this freebie and get on her email list are going to be the best fit people for when she is ready to start bookings, right? The people inside of her email list have already said, hey, I'm interested. I want to know more, and I want the information when you have it available. So make sure that you are building your list with the right people. So that's just a bonus one for you, right? So what about when you're emailing your list? What can you put in those emails aside from now booking? First, I want you to think about how you can tell stories. I know you're saying, Denise, really? I just want to get the information out there. But stories connect people. And there's a reason that horse movies are so popular because they're telling a story and pulling people in, right? And people love horses, of course. But when it comes to this, telling a story about your stallion, about the offspring of your stallion is going to help people feel connected. I promise you that in addition to the numbers, people care about the numbers, but when they start to also feel connected to that horse or to you as an owner or the owners, plural, whatever the case may be, then they start to actually be a little bit more invested. So share about how they came into your program. What were they doing? What was your stallion doing before? How did he enter the program? What are some things that have happened since then? What are just some fun facts, right? What are some things that you can do to share so that they feel like they actually kind of know this horse, right? Share, of course, about the winnings. Share about the discipline or disciplines that he's been involved in, that his offspring have been involved in. I don't want you to do this all in one email, okay? Create a series where you're introducing them. If you have multiple stallions, then you can create a series where you're introducing them to multiple different ones over time, right? One at a time. And maybe you do a few fun facts. Maybe you do the same thing, ask the same questions for each one. The other way you can tell stories, again, is to talk about the offspring, right? Because people can read that and they can just imagine what their horse, when they breed to this particular stallion, what's their horse going to be involved in? What's possible for them because they see what's possible for other people through the stories that you're telling. The other thing that you can do through email marketing is to educate. Kind of like I talked about with social media, but what are the things that you want them to know ahead of time? What are the things that you wish people knew about the process, about their expectations or their lack of expectations, or what does it look like, right? It's not the same for every single operation. It's not the same for every single business. Show them what it looks like to work with you and your business. Why is it so great? Why is that process so easy? How do you make it easy for them? What can they do to increase the likelihood of success? What is your guarantee? I know everybody has a guarantee of some kind. What does it look like for you? How does it work? How can you put that at ease for them when they're making a big investment to bring their mare to breed with your stallion? What does that look like? You can do all of those things through email marketing, okay? And again, do not think it has to go all in one big sales email, okay? Break it up, warm them up for when that time comes. All right, so that's email marketing. Now, here are some other ideas that you can use on YouTube. So we all know lots of horse people like to go to YouTube and get their questions answered. So while you definitely can and should use your YouTube channel to promote your stallion and have a video showing what he's capable of, what his offspring are capable of, I also want you to think about how you can humanize this process, right? Maybe it's you that's getting in front of the camera. Maybe you're inviting your expert vet to join you on camera, and you guys are going to share some tips about what they can do after the breeding has taken place. How can they take great care of a mare that's pregnant and expecting a foal? What does that look like? Because all the things that you can do to help your customers have success with their offspring over time, that's going to come back and build up for your stallion, right? And it's going to give them a great feeling when they know that you are in it for the long haul, right? You're not just in it for that transaction. You want to see them succeed. So look at how you can create some videos. They don't have to be professionally done. They don't have to be 30 minutes long, but create 5 or 10 minutes even to just explain to them some of the processes, educate them, right? Introduce them to some of the horses, humanize that process, and maybe make it a little bit less intimidating for many of them. As always, I want you to keep your audience in mind as you do these things, okay? Yes, you are selling. So yes, at the end of your video, have a slide. Invite them to get your freebie, right? Have a slide that tells them when bookings will be open or to sign up for your email so that they're the first to know. Absolutely include those call to actions. Just keep your audience in mind as you do it. Now, one more thing on YouTube is I want you to make sure that you include an actual description with the information. So don't just put the video out there and then a description, just have the name of the horse and say now booking. That's not taking full advantage of what's available to you, right? So instead, inside of that description, have the extra information that you're talking about in the video, have a little summary, link to your website, link to your freebie, link to, if you have a page on your website for each stallion, link to that, right? Take advantage of that space that's given to you by YouTube to get people to take the next step. And then in your video, call to action, say, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. The link for that is in the description, okay? Be very specific. All right, next, I want you to consider using press releases. Now, I know this looks different for everybody, but regardless of what breed you're involved in, or association or associations you're involved in, I guarantee you they have a media release process. So reach out to them and see what that would look like. How can you let people in your associations know that you have a stallion or stallions available for booking? And perhaps you have a limited time or limited availability. Create some sense of urgency, right, as you create that press release. And be sure that you include all the details. Give the deadlines, give the limitations, and always, always give those next steps. What do they need to do if they want to book with you, right? Be very clear and specific. Now, I will make sure and link to this in the show notes, but I actually have a podcast episode about press releases. And so if that's something that you're like, I'm just not sure about that, Denise, I would love to invite you to listen to that. So make sure you head to the show notes to grab that link. And then I will also make sure, of course, if you're on my email list, then you'll get that information. But certainly including information on your press release and making it captivating and engaging is a really good idea. So that episode was number 56. So if you just want to go to stormlily.com/56, you will be able to take notes directly from that episode. But I'll have it in the show notes for you as well. Okay, I've got one more idea for you. I told you, I hope you're taking notes because I'm just throwing them at you. So the next idea is not a particular platform. It's just something that I saw and I thought it was a really good reminder. And it was to provide incentives. So what I actually saw that sparked this was that Terry Bradshaw Quarter Horses had an ad. I believe it was in the Quarter Horse Journal. And they were offering to pay owners of their offspring that placed in certain shows. Now, I promise you I don't have all the details written down, and I'm not saying that you replicate their process, but I loved the creativity of it. Because, of course, the more money that their offspring earns, the more money then that sire can say is allotted to them for their offspring's lifetime earnings, right? It increases the value of the stallion when its offspring is doing well. But the point here I want you to think of is to be creative and look for ways that you can provide incentives. It doesn't have to be paying people to show or place or whatever the details are of their arrangement there. But I've seen before early booking discounts, right? If you book by X date, or if you are one of the first 10, first 20, whatever the case may be, to get in there and get booked, then you get a discount. So that's one way that you could do it. But look for some creative ways that you can incentivize people to choose you, to choose your stallion, right? Okay. I hope that this was so helpful for you. This was a really fun one for me to just sit down and think about a specific niche and some content ideas for you. Now, there's 2 keys I want you to keep in mind as you are applying these ideas, okay? Number 1, keep your audience front and center. I know I've probably already said that, but I think it's so important because it can be tempting to take these ideas and then create a post or create an email that still is only doing the sell, sell, sell. We, right? We meaning WE, like we do this, we do this, we do this. Instead, write your content, whether it's your emails, your social media, your videos, from the perspective of your audience. So use the word you, Y-O-U. You will get this. You will experience this, right? Keep them front and center. Number 2, keeping them front and center also means you provide a great experience. We all know that word of mouth marketing and referrals can be some of the best marketing tools to have in your toolkit. Yes, we need to do the work to get the name out there, right? To get your brand out there. But at the same time, as you do that, if you are creating a great experience for your customers, then they will also help you by pointing you in the right direction and pointing other people to you. That will be a great fit. Okay. All right. Now it's time for you to take these ideas and implement them. And when you do, I want you to tag me, do a story, send me a message, let me know, because I want to see how you are taking these ideas and starting to market your stallion and your breeding your program this spring and forever on, right? All right. So again, be sure to go to stormlily.com/69 for the show notes. I will have a summary of today's episode. And if you have not already, I'd be so grateful if you would leave a review. If you happen to listen on Apple or any other podcast player that allows reviews. I know right now they vary, but I would be so grateful for a review because it lets other people know if this podcast is helping you, then it's probably going to help them as well. And my goal is to help as many horse business owners as possible. Now, stay tuned because next week I'm super excited. I have a special guest that's joining me. It was such a great interview. I've turned it into a 2-part series, and she is actually my very first Cowgirl Hall of Famer to be on the podcast. Her name is Barbara Schulte. If you do not know her yet, you're going to love her. She is real and down to earth and just really wants to help you all succeed. And so she is sharing some success tips, some lessons learned that she has learned along the way as she has been building her own horse business. So please do join me next week for that. But in the meantime, have fun applying these ideas to your business, and I will see you here next week. Have an awesome day.